All right, let's get to Sudan. A new report released by the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification stated that 14 months into the conflict, Sudan is facing the worst levels of acute food insecurity ever recorded in the country, with over half the population facing a crisis or worse conditions between June and September of 2024, coinciding with the lean season. Now, this includes 755,000 people in catastrophe areas in 10 states, including Greater Darfur, and South and North Kordofan, Blue Nile, Al Jazeera, and Khartoum. Another 8.5 million people face emergencies. Now, commenting on the recent IPC report, Al-Harith, Idriss Al-Harith, the permanent representative of the Republic of Sudan, said the data collection by the IPC from the states occupied by the RSF militia is unreliable and unconvincing.
The results of this committee's report at the national level and according to the classification stages in Sudan, there are 25.6 million people in food emergencies and need urgent interventions. 755,000 people live in hunger. They are located in areas witnessing severe conflicts. Most of them are displaced, people in camps, and very narrow areas in Khartoum and the Jazeera. The current period running from October to February, there is a decrease in the number of people in emergency situation from 25.5 or 0.6 to 21 million IPC3 because it is a harvest period despite the war conditions. So the population who are in the hunger phase decrease as well from 755,000 to IPC 5 108,944. The food security situation risk in the regions was analyzed in the following. Camps for displaced people in Darfur and Kordofan, the narrow areas in Jazeera and Khartoum. It turns out these residents are in a state of hunger. All members of the committee are convinced that these areas which witnessed cases of hunger are subjected to repeated attacks, vicious repeated attacks by the RSF militia, and some of them are encircled or besieged by the militia until present. The Minister of Agriculture and Forestry concerns regarding the report are the following. The report did not clearly mention any adequate indicators of famine in Sudan. We believe that the data collection by IPC from the states occupied by the RSF militia is unreliable and unconvincing due to the difficulty of accessing those areas or those states. The report is merely depending on old data from UN agencies and organizations. According to the report, as I said, 25.6 million people are now in food emergencies and in need of urgent interventions. The number of people in emergency situation, as I said, decreased to 21 million in between October and February 24 period because it is a harvest period despite the war conditions. The number of people in the hunger status also decreased from 755,000 between October-February 25 period to 181,000. The 181,000 people in the hunger status constitute only 2% of the total population of 48 million, and this is insignificant percentage to be taken as a serious indicator of an imminent famine. So some partners were not convinced by the IPC report nor were they convinced by the previous CFSM production estimates report, which denied any famine in Sudan. They are insisting to review the famine. Our recommendations are accordingly, we agree with the report that there are people who are in need of food and an intervention more than others should be supported to protect them from falling into famine or experiencing dire famine. More than 8.1 million people are displaced in states under the government control should be supported because they can easily be provided and have access to aid. So if the declaration of famine is only to open borders, so the government has already named more than 8 cross borders, like our borders with Republic of South Sudan, which is riverine and terrestrial, our borders with Egypt from Halab to Dongola in northern Sudan, our borders with Chad, Atina, Al-Fashir, borders through Sawakin in eastern Sudan, and we have dedicated 3 airports, Port Sudan, Al-Fashir Airport, and Kadugli, to mainly for shipment of aid, humanitarian aid. So our concern is that there are risks, looming risk, and existential risk that the RSF militia can see the humanitarian and prevent its access or delivery to the needy, as it has disrupted before the convoy which has started from eastern Sudan through northern Sudan heading to Melita and Al-Fashir. So if we open specific border of Adari between Chad and Sudan, this will be opening Pandora's box, because there will be smuggling of arms to the area controlled by the RSF militia in that area, and the army or the Sudanese armed forces do not have any checkpoints in that area. So the real balance of supply and demand as it stands, the balance of national supply demand for grains for the marketing year 2024, January to December, is listed in Table 17, broken down by sorghum, millet, maize, wheat, and rice. The balance is based on the mission's production estimates, including forecast for winter wheat yield and harvest in March 24, and the latest information on consumption, food use, trade, stock availability, and plans. The following assumptions are holding as follows. So total food consumption is estimated at 7.32 million tons, using an estimated population figure of 48.2 million people to the end of 23, which was approved in the latest integrated classification of food security stages, IPC analysis. The average per capita consumption is 152 kilograms of grains annually, including 75 kilograms of sorghum, 58 kilograms of wheat, 16 kilograms of millet, 2 kilos of rice, and 1 kilo of corn. Food usage is expected to reach 152,740 tons, using an allocation of about 5% of production. Sorghum and 2% of millet production are used as food for livestock and poultry. As in previous years, seed requirements for planting in 2024 are estimated at about 122,000 tons, based on the average cultivated areas over the past 3 years and the country's recommended seed rate. So the following seed rates were used: 7.5 kilos for sorghum, 4 kilos for millet, 20 kilos for corn, 120 kilos for wheat, 75 kilos for rice. The post-harvest and other use losses are estimated at 191,380 tons, with rates ranging from 5% for sorghum and millet, 4% for maize, 2% for rice, and 1% for wheat. The important requirements for 24 marketing year are expected to be approximately 3.4 million tons, mostly wheat and sorghum, in addition to a large amount of millet and a negligible amount of maize and rice.